Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Joel, for that beautiful music, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Desert. I am Stephen Toporoff, and I have the honor of being your worship associate for this special Sunday service. We have a lot going on. The choir, newcomers, volunteers, so I'm glad everybody is here. If you could take a moment to silence your phones, watches, and other devices, it'd be greatly appreciated. And before we begin, as always, we acknowledge that we are gathered on the unceded lands of the Agua Caliente Band of Cahuilla people. And we commit to grow in our understanding and relationship with this land and the people who inhabited it and nurtured it before our arrival. In this congregation, we strive to honor the inherent dignity and worth of every person. You're welcome here no matter your background, race, ancestry, and culture. We welcome people of all sexual orientations and gender identities, of all ages and sizes, people of all economic statuses and professions, and all physical and mental abilities. We welcome you wherever you are from, whoever you love, whatever your immigration status or civic engagement. We welcome all those who will learn and grow with us as we commit together to embrace the rich and beautiful diversity of the world and to build a community centered in justice, compassion, and love. Whether you are participating in person or online, we are glad you are here. Okay. So we're going to begin our service with Rev. Ian ringing the Tibetan bowl.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Reverend Ian Riddell, and I have the delight and the joy of serving this congregation as its minister. However you found us, however many times you've been here with us in person or online, welcome. We are a congregation and a tradition that celebrates the richness and beauty of individual lives and commits to working together to weave a tapestry made stronger and more vibrant by our collaboration, by the sharing of our lives and our visions for a thriving future for all of life. We strive together to craft a beloved community of resilience, hope, and love in the face of fear, anxiety, violence, and apathy. We practice the opening of hearts, the working of hands, and the lifting of spirits in the service of love. We share the sacred breath. We gather together to build the beloved community breath by breath, word by word, note by note, step by step. We gather together to sing and speak and dance and breathe the beloved community into being. This is our work. This is our calling. This is our joy. And speaking of joy, would you please rise in body or in spirit as we sing together our opening song, Come, Sing a Song with Me.
Bring you home.
Stuart Lee come up to the right of John. And as he does so, please read along the words that will occur on the screen. May
Love be the spirit of the church. May the quest for truth be its sacrament, and service be its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, and to help one another in fellowship. This is our aspiration.
And will Joni come up to light the fire popcorn? And please read along.
We light these candles in solidarity with Black, Indigenous, and other people of color as we journey together toward spiritual wholeness. May we lead as a beloved community, work to dismantle racism and all forms of oppression. May we live out our principles
Thank you, choir. Thank you. No one told me it was hat day. We're going to take a little bit of time now in our service to say thank you. Thank you to all of the volunteers who give time and talent, sweat and hard work and imagination to help this beloved community function, to help it grow, to help it thrive. Before the service started, on the screen you saw dozens and dozens of names roll by. If you missed them, they'll be on the screen again during the postlude and after the end of the service. I had originally planned to read out all the names, but there are so many ways that our volunteers do the work of our congregation. It would have taken the whole service time just to read off the names. Our volunteers do so many things, but I will tell you some of the things that our volunteers do. They serve on our board of directors, our personnel and bylaws committee. They work on our committee on ministry, our membership committee. They serve as greeters and ushers, welcoming us here each day and making sure we're safe and comfortable. They serve as leaders of our chalice circles, as developers and planners of our lifespan faith development education programs, of our making sure that our money is good, of our finance committee, and running our pledge drive every year. They serve on our care team, helping take care of the congregation, and so many volunteers who aren't on the care team but also bring food and love and give rides to folks. They serve as our audiovisual volunteers, making sure we can see and hear each other well on Sunday mornings and that those of us who are watching from afar can participate. They serve as our worship committee, our worship associates, lay folks who preach some Sundays. They serve on our new communications task force, planning our social media. They serve on our sacred grounds, taking care of this place, making sure that we live on this land in ways that are intentional and honor its sacredness. Our Sacred Ground Steering Committee, folks who donate money and time and effort to move dirt and rocks and imagine what this place can be. They serve as our historian. They serve on our Social Justice Committee, on the committee itself, planning and conspiring and making, well, it's good conspiring. Denise is rubbing her hands together like this. They also serve to make sure things happen, to volunteer in our justice work in the community, at the Galilee Center, at the Drag for Drag Rally, at the Palm Springs Pride every year, the Trans Day of Remembrance, at the CVUSD Migrant Education Christmas Party, at the CVUSD Migrant Education Food Packing Party. That's a big one every year. Our Laundry Love is coming up, and they serve and volunteer in those ways. They serve on our Facilities and Grounds Committee, making sure that our building and our grounds are safe and functional for all of us, that the heat and the air conditioning both work. They serve on our hospitality team, making sure that we are welcomed each week with coffee, if that's what we need, or tea and goodies so we have time together to chat after our service. They serve on our stewardship committee, keeping their eye on how we're all connected, and they work together to plan and run many events, including our auction, our chili cook-off, our pizza parties, our salad luncheon, and the ice cream after today's service. Don't forget, there's ice cream after today's service. Volunteers serve to make our installation this past November a huge success and a really great party. They serve on our diversity, inclusion, and belonging ministry team. They serve on our leadership development team, helping to build this community's leadership for the years to come. They serve by singing in our choir. Thank you, choir. They serve by paying attention to what's going on in our denomination. They serve by building and maintaining our UU website, by planning our men's breakfast, our work nights, women's night out, our book groups, our film series, our craft gatherings, our Scrabble. If you've not been here for Scrabble, it is not always quiet. It can get a little testy sometimes. It's lovely to see. They quietly help us without signing up, clean up after service, clean up after all of our events, keep the walls painted, make our space beautiful. So many things people do to make this place thrive. A couple of years ago, we had a service called Ask Your Minister Anything, and you did. Question box, there'll be one coming soon again. Amongst all of the other fabulous and fascinating and impertinent questions that were asked was this one. I come to church on Sundays. Sometimes I attend church events. I pledge or I drop money in the offering basket. Why should I volunteer? What's in it for me? Well, aside from seeing your name on the screen, I want to share my response with you from that service again. I imagine the answer is a little different for everyone who volunteers, but I think there are some things everyone has in common. It's my firm belief that a community does not get built or get crafted by just saying we are a community. Where I have seen community built most powerfully is when the people of that community work together to create something, to craft something collectively. When I conducted an LGBT and Allies choir in Victoria, British Columbia in the 1990s, the members of that choir came from many different sub-communities that often didn't get along well or spend much time together. But by singing together, by fundraising and planning and organizing and hosting potlucks and running sectional rehearsals and performing concerts and caring for the music library and picking music and leadership together, we built something really special, a community that could rely on each other. This is what we do here. Volunteering is not just about supporting the congregation we're members of. Don't get me wrong, it is very much about supporting the congregation we're members of. We rely on volunteers for so much of what we do. Pam and Jim and Joel and our other piano players and I can't do all of it. Volunteers make these church events possible. Volunteers count the money that goes in the offering basket each week and make decisions based on our mission and strategic plan about how to use that money for our community. Volunteers make this worship service happen. Our worship associates, our AV folks, our choir members, our greeters and ushers, the folks who get coffee ready for us and ice cream, the folks who stick around afterwards to tidy up and make sure the building is ready for the next event, make sure the chairs are all in the right spot. It's about supporting this wonderful community and helping it grow and thrive, but it's also about building connections. Our choir members aren't just learning music when they gather to rehearse each week. They are sharing their lives, building connections, offering each other support and challenge. The folks who get our coffee hour ready each week talk about that setup, yes, but they also share what's going on in their lives, hear each other's stories, learn from each other. I know the best stories are around that island in the kitchen before service on Sunday mornings. Our board members and the members of our other committees do the work of managing and envisioning and making real the mission of the congregation, but they also bear witness to each other's pain and joy, offer words and acts of kindness and care to each other. We can't exist and thrive without all of these volunteers. So Stephen and I are going to lead us in saying thank you to everyone who has volunteered this year. There will be words on the screen. When it is your turn, I invite you to speak them out loud. When there was a need, you came forward. So we thank you. In the nighttime, in the daytime, on weekends, and even in the coldest, darkest part of the year and the hottest, driest part of the year, you helped. And so we thank you.
Elected and duly appointed or quietly, anonymously or unbidden, you did what needed doing.
And so we thank you.
Sometimes with the help of many hands, other times alone, you worked.
And so we thank you. You gave your time, talent, and even your treasure for the life of this congregation. And so we thank you. Your families and your loved ones supported you in your efforts, worried for you when things piled up, and perhaps grumbled at you for the extent of your commitment. And so we thank your families and loved ones.
For all things great and small you have given this congregation, we take time today to recognize,
To thank you
and to honor you.
Thank you. So the names will scroll again during the postlude. I do want to say, if you're doing something and your name doesn't make it there, I apologize. We do our best. Just let me know quietly. Politely. There are so many things that happen that we don't see, and so we're grateful for those as well. And we're grateful for the support, the financial support that all of us give for the day-to-day life of this congregation so that its work in our hearts and in the world can build and thrive. And so let's take a moment now before we move on to the next thing to just pause together in quiet. Perhaps for you it's a quiet of gratitude. Perhaps for you it's a quiet of sadness. Perhaps for you it's a quiet of seeking hope, seeking connection. Perhaps for you it's a quiet of, So I invite you to be as comfortable in your seat as you are willing and able, to breathe as deeply as you are able, to be comfortable in this place, this community crafted with love and intention, crafted with commitment and with hope, in the presence of this community, in the arms of its love, and in the arms of a love that is greater and broader and deeper than we can know, that holds this community and all of us in possibility, in healing, and in hope. We pause in the embrace of that love. May all beings know peace. May all beings know an end to suffering. May all beings know love. Will you join your loving voices together, friends, as we sing Spirit of Life, Fuente de Amor. We find religious community in many ways. Sometimes we're born into it. Sometimes we're invited in by friends or neighbors who see our heart and know what we need. Sometimes we search long and hard to find a place we can feel seen and challenged at the same time. However we find it, one day we come to realize we have found a place we want to be part of, a place we want to put down some roots and make some deeper connections, a place we might call home. And so we welcome to our community today a group of people who want to throw in their lot with us. Imagine that. who want to join this community as members, who want the thread of their lives to be knitted into the fabric of this community. We talk here a lot about crafting the shared ministry, crafting the beloved community. In a little while, for those of you who are new, when you sign the book, you're going to be able to choose a small, amongst other treats you get, a small knitted square. This is a symbol of our commitment to knitting ourselves together in a beloved community. Each thread, each strand makes a difference to our whole. The we who welcome you becomes different when you join us. We're so delighted that you've chosen to become a part of who we are striving to be. I hope that being a part of us will transform you. I know that it will transform us. So I'm going to invite Randy to come forward, and he will call up our new, and Tracy both, they will call up our new members and invite people to sign the book, get their membership certificate and name badge, and choose a knitted square. Thank you, Reverend.
Test. All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Randy Steele. I'm a member of the membership committee, and that comprises of Barb Storm, Margaret Beamon, Tracy, and myself, along with LeGrand. It's so nice to have you here today. And so we've got 8 new members that are going to be joining us this morning. As their names are called, if you'll come up and receive your blue name badge, we'll ask you to sign our membership book. You're going to receive a certificate. You're going to grab a knitted square, and you'll come up to the right side, left side for you of the stage, and we'll have a responsive reading in just a couple minutes. So I am delighted and excited to have 8 new members in our Spring 24 class. The first person is Sherry Booth. Come on up. Our next person is Nancy Butkus. Our third new member is Savannah Carroll. Nancy. Next is Jill Donovan. See her? Yeah. And next is Lucy Ferruta. And next is Stuart Lee. And our next new member is China Palina. And last but not least, my favorite last name, Drusilla Steele. There she is. I know. Do our responsive reading now.
In this congregation, your words are on the screen when the time comes. In this free religious tradition, membership is simple but wholehearted. We join each other on the path of liberal, progressive religion to affirm the values of Unitarian Universalism and to give support and companionship to each other. We welcome all who wish to become a part of this community and share in our celebration of life. Each of you brings your own unique gifts to this congregation. We look forward to getting to know you better, to traveling our future path together, and to learning the wisdom that our shared tradition has to teach us. We are honored that you have chosen to become part of our beloved community. We value your participation and look forward to learning of your thoughts, hopes, and concerns. We welcome you into our church family and hope that we may be worthy of your trust.
In Unitarian Universalist Church of the Desert, we affirm those principles of freedom and responsibility upon which this church is founded. We bring our talents and enthusiasm and ask that you reach out to welcome and invite our participation in this community.
And everyone. As members of this congregation, we pledge to support this religious community with our hearts, hands, talents, and resources, so that together we may become a voice for reason, freedom, love, and justice in our community and in the wider world. We join together to challenge and nurture one another in our efforts to speak honestly, to act with compassion, to respond to the call of justice for courage, to live with integrity, to love and care for one another, and to bless everyone, no exception. Welcome. Wow, great. Yeah, you're awake now, yes? Okay. Thank you, choir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We've had a lot of words already this morning, and I've said a lot of words already this morning, and I only have a few more for you. A thing that I feel called to share with you on this day, which is, after all, Easter Sunday for so many of us, for so many of our neighbors and kin and friends. I was at a minister's retreat in Scottsdale, Arizona early last week, and along with a lot of other conversation and laughter and collective support, one question kept popping up: what are you all doing for Easter? There were a lot of answers, all sorts of fabulous things happening. My answer was, we're celebrating our volunteers and welcoming new members into the fabric of our community. I said it with a big smile. And I got a look. But what does that have to do with Easter? Well, I think I told you before, I'm going to tell you again, a little bit about the tradition on Good Friday 2 days ago in the Anglican Cathedral of my youth. The church I grew up in had a very powerful way of commemorating the death of Jesus on Good Friday. After a solemn service, which included a group reading of the trial and crucifixion, the clergy prepared communion and shared it with the congregation. But rather than the usual closing forms of worship, coming together, singing a hymn, all that stuff, after each person received communion, they just wandered out of the church, one or two or a family at a time. It felt like something that had been vital, that had held us together, had died. It felt like the community had been shaken apart, scattered, incomplete, disconnected, playing out the aftermath of the crucifixion, the dismay and disorientation of those who loved and had just lost Jesus. In the church of my youth, we did come back together, though, a few days later on Easter Sunday. In that tradition, it was a celebration of the return of Jesus to his followers and a celebration of the beginning of what would become the church. But the thing is, that church, that tradition, didn't start because structures were built from the top down even if they would come later in history. It started because the understanding of the followers of Jesus, in their understanding, he had returned to call them to build a new way of being. And they strove to do that, person by person, heart by heart. They gathered in homes and in clearings in small groups. Initially, they gathered and crafted communities where they could support and challenge each other, inspire and serve each other. They built intentional communities, congregations which they each shared in supporting and nurturing. And yes, they also shared in getting the word out, often in dangerous times and places, getting the word out and inviting others to join in their weaving of their vision of a new way to be. And they welcomed new people, people who were seeking, who were questioning, people who were looking to add their life to a new community. That image of building, of crafting, of weaving of communities of support and love and service and possibility is what I hear in the Easter story today. It's what I see in the story of this congregation today. This community lives and thrives because we each offer our hearts and our visions and the work of our hands to make it thrive. This community lives and thrives because we invite and welcome new people, new hearts and hands and visions to join us in this work of service, of hope, and of love. It lives and thrives because each of us has said yes, in many ways, to the weaving of the fabric of this place. We have said yes to this community, yes to truth, yes to life, and yes to love. And with that yes in your hearts, I'm going to invite you to rise in body or in spirit one more time as we sing Just as Long as I Have Breath.
And before we close, I'm going to invite Denise to come forward with some congregational news. Too much time in D.C.
Good morning. I'm Denise Jansen-Eager, Social Justice Chair. And Reverend Ian, I need to tell you that I have two announcements, not one. Okay. Steve gave me permission. Okay. First one is correcting a major oversight. When I was putting together the list of all the volunteers that did anything with social justice this last year, I neglected the Social Justice Committee. So, with that being said, I need to honor them. First of all, I need to honor Gloria Kapp, who was the social justice co-chair until her untimely passing. Sue Caspary, who is our note taker, works on our newsletter issues. Barb Kate, Chris Eager, Carol McDaniel, who is not just a longtime member, but is also our liaison to the board. So thank you all, and I'm sorry for the oversight. The second one is very brief. The nomination forms are out. They're on the center table. Fill out your Share the Plate nominations. You have between last Friday and April 14th to get them in. You can fill out the ones on the center table, or you can go in last Friday's newsletter and click on the electronic form. So can't wait to see what they are for 24-25. Yes?
Denise, I just wanted to share with you that Easter 19 years ago was our first service in this building.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome to our new members. How many of you were here for that service? Not many of us, but we're hanging on.
Thank you.
And as we close, Denise is going to extinguish the chalice. And please read along as she does so. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we bear in our hearts until we come together again.
Thank you, everybody. A reminder, what's happening after service? Ice cream, right, yes. There's also coffee and cupcakes as well. So a real joyful time. We've set it all up in the community room because it's a little chilly outside, but feel free if you want to grab stuff and go outside, that's okay too. As we depart from this place of connection and hope, of welcoming and new possibility, this place of service and gratitude, we remember that old story of the crafting of community in homes, in workplaces, in congregations, in neighborhoods. We remember that our ancestors and another people's ancestors responded to devastation and fear by weaving themselves together into communities of hope and service and love. As we return our hearts and our minds, our bodies and spirits to the varied, complex, and often chaotic world, I invite you to carry the words of my colleague, the Reverend Wayne Arneson, in your hearts. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. Go in peace, my friends, to love and serve the world.